Saludos desde el Rinconcito de Esperanza. My name is Graciela Sanchez, born and raised in San Antonio and a buena gente of the Esperanza Peace and Justice Center. Normally, in May, we would be hosting El Paseo por el Westside, which honors the community, the people of the West Side, the historic West Side of San Antonio, along with its history, culture, traditions, and the preservation of the buildings of this historic neighborhood. But because of the coronavirus, we are unable to do that. So we welcome you to join us to look at some of the archives of past paseos por el West Side. And once you see the beauty, hear and the amazing musicians, poetry, and the people, we welcome you to join us in the future to continue to preserve the history, the culture, the gente, the values of this precious and iconic West Side. Check out our website, our Instagram, Twitter at Esperanza Center, or call us at 210-228-0201 to learn more about it and learn how you can join us and help us out. Muchas gracias, and dale shine al West Side.
Hi, this is Carmen Tafoya, and I'd like to take you through my West Side via poesía. So, un paseo por el West Side, my beloved side of town, my home, the place that gave me my nurturance and my values and my education, the earliest literary influences I had, the earliest writers that I consider to be of significance in what I have written and my style of writing have been the viejitos and the viejitas, the antepasados, abuelas, abuelos, tías, primos, el vecino, people that told us the stories that had been the heritage of our people for hundreds of years. This is what El West Side means to me. So it's natural that my favorite writing, my first writing, and I also think my most important writings are based in el corazón del West Side. I want to start with taquitos because you can't have the West Side without having tacos. That form of sustenance that expresses our care for other people, that expresses our passion, our love, our faithfulness in so many ways through the simple act of nurturing others. So I'm going to start with a little love poem in the book Rebosos. It's written in Spanish originally and then translated to English by me. And then I'm going to read you kind of a back and forth between the two in my native language, Tex-Mex, between Inglés y Español. Los taquitos. Los taquitos que traigo, the tacos that I made for you, are for your mouth, whose taste I know so well. I know your panza too, and your hungers, your sighs, and your desires, the rhythm of your chest, the softness of your breath, the way you burn me with your gaze, fill me with the heat of your skin, el modo en que me quemas con tu mirada, la forma en que me llenas con el calor de tu piel, tus ojos medio cerrados, mis labios medio abiertos, escalofrío en la espalda, tus manos, mi suspirar, tu boca, your mouth, que yo conozco, that I know so well. In these taquitos, la carne, the meat, is chopped small and soft for that missing tooth of yours. They're stuffed with tomates, sprinkled with cilantro, covered with chile that bites, un besito de sal, and lemon drizzled like summer rain. And always add plenty of frijoles. Estos taquitos, these tacos, I made for you, for your mouth, whose taste I know so well. Inspired by a painting by Gatagarate.
a lot of my time growing up in the West Side. My grandparents on both sides lived in the West Side, and you know, all of my memories, my childhood memories, the best memories I have are here. I began to understand the importance of our history, the importance of Chicano history, of Mexican history, of my roots, really. You know, my grandparents all immigrated here. My grandparents on both sides are from Mexico, and you know, that's something that you see obviously here in the West Side. It's Chicano, it's Mexicano.
Para todos ustedes, con el permiso del compositor Pepe Guizar, que yo trabajé mucho con él en México. Es México lindo y querido, pero yo le cambié en honor a nuestro pueblo San Antonio. Porque Dios Santo nos bendijo con el nombre de, porque pusimos San Antonio querido. Y a nosotros las tesoros nos dio la bendición Diosito de las voces que tenemos y también el corazón grande para no hacer menos a nadie. Para todos ustedes. Voz de la guitarra mía. Así, al despertar la mañana. Quiero cantar mi alegría a esta tierra tejana. Yo le canto a las misiones y a mi catedral hermosa y al lindo paseo del río, orgullo de mis paisanos. Mi San Antonio querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormida y que me traigan aquí. Que digan que estoy dormida y que me traigan aquí. Mi San Antonio querido, si muero
The way I describe it is the West Side is my mother. Like, this is where Tex-Mex was born, you know, in on the west side of San Antonio. And San Antonio is our Plymouth Rock. It's where we came here, and once we came, like it or not, we changed. I mean, we became something different than Mexico, but we never really became the United States, at least is the way it's defined. So we wanted to think about preservation issues, about the West Side being preserved, but not just the culture, but also the buildings.
What was the Paseo?
I think it was one of the Paseo. And
that's an awesome photo.
so we were dancing together. I remember I was a teenager, maybe in middle school, and on a certain day, they would charge maybe 2 pennies. And So that day my mother, when I got up, says, okay, I have all those clothes for you to iron. So if we wanted to go to the movies, we had to finish ironing those clothes. We'd say, okay, as soon as we're through, we'll go to the movies. And we did it, So there was an incentive to really hurry up and get the clothes.
And of course, as we go through the barrio, we also find La Bruja. So this is a young girl in a poem that I call La Witch. Watch out for La Bruja, La Witch. I saw her last night, wrapped in silence, wrapped in her magic and potions for love, wrapped in things that confuse the sky up above. Steaming brews, yellow powders, dried leaves, strange butterflies always around her, of odd, unnamed colors, and by her head, hummingbirds, green, with rainbow dust wings. She looked at the heavens, and stars appeared. She looked at the wind, and it started to howl. And then she almost looked at me, a look with no face, and instead of eyes, two deep mysteries full of possibilities, full of size, full of vision into the heart, full of powers, which I will request to enchant and entrance the one I watch, the one I want, the one who will be mi amor. One more from this collection, very mujerista, very centered on the experiences of women. It's a goodbye poem from one comadre to another. In Spanish, I called it Hasta la tumba, and in English, Going with You. So many times, comadre, we'd go places together, to the fields, to the kitchens. When I gave birth, you were there. And when the rains tried to steal your harvest, I was there. When you pulled a muscle, or that time I had the fever, that time you even fed my kids, toasting tortillas on my comal, while you laid wet cloths so gently on my burning head. Comadre, vas conmigo para la iglesia. Comadrita, vas conmigo acá mi prima. Comadrita. Now you lie there on your kitchen table. Candles flicker around you like stars. What a shame that our comadre passed away, they say. Que lástima. We'll really miss her, miss going places with her. But I've got one place yet, comadre. One place more to go with you. I'll go by foot, behind a wooden box, going with you still, this one last time, just to keep you company, comadre. That's from the book Rebosos.
Okay, here we go.
Hola, ¿cómo han estado? Bueno, pues ya sé que no hemos estado muy bien, que digamos, pero bendito sea Dios, los que quedamos aquí, vamos a portarnos bien, ¿ok? Y saludes a toda la gente que nos sigue en la esperanza. Tenemos esperanza de sentirnos mejor y mejor y que todo esto termine. Pero nosotros no lo hemos olvidado, tanto Blanca Rosa como yo, su amiga de siempre, Beatriz Llamas. Las recordamos, sus aplausos, su cariño, y las seguimos recordando, y ojalá que un día nos veamos en persona otra vez, ¿ok? Y que Dios se apiade de todos nosotros. Gracias. Un besito de lejos. Gracias.
From the taqueria to the panaderia, you know, our culture is here, and you see it, you know, just walking down the street, you feel it. I want to continue to glorify our people and to glorify our culture, because it's not happening, and there are different projects, you know, San Antonio Cultural Arts, the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center, the Esperanza Peace and Justice Center, amongst others, all see that importance and are working tirelessly to make sure that, you know, our generation and the next generation don't forget where we come from, and don't disconnect from those roots, those indigenous roots.